This video is brought to you by Arma, who provides top quality supplements to athletes of all kinds. Riders like Nick Way, Chad Reed, Jeremy McGrath use them for pre, during, and post-activity applications. Be sure to head to armasport.com and use the code RACERX. That's R-A-C-E-R-X, no spaces, for 20% off your first order.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another edition of RacerX Online. First test, first impression, right here, 2021 GasGas MC 450. Now, before you start barking at me and saying, it's just another KTM and Husqvarna, you would be wrong, okay? So I'm gonna rip you off some things that are different from the orange and white bikes. First things first, the cost of the GasGas is about $800 to $900 cheaper than the other two models. And the reason is, they don't come with a map switch. So it's one map, you have it. You have the option as a customer to buy the optional handlebar mounted map switch, 1, 2, and TC for 170 bucks. But GasGas, they said, hey, we're gonna leave that off of here. Basically what comes with this GasGas is map 1, what you normally find on a KTM or Husqvarna. So, and that's not to be outdone, it has a KTM subframe, okay? Doesn't have the composite carbon subframe like the Husqvarna. It has a Husqvarna swing arm. The suspension is proprietary to GasGas, so they have their own settings, and they had their own test riders go through this and set it up for this machine. Different head pipe without a resonance chamber. We're gonna talk about that here and how it performed out in the track. But it has the same neck and bar as the KTM, but they come with cast clamps, a different feel. The cast has a softer feeling out on the track, so a little bit different than the KTM or Husqvarnas that you see out in the dealerships right now. So there is some different, obviously it's red, there's some different things that you guys at home may not know, but for me, it's nice to have a lower cost, if you want to call it, KTM or Husqvarna with the GasGas model. I personally like the red colorway. For me, there's nothing sexier on a bike than red. Makes you think of Ferrari, right? So everything else on this GasGas is the same as a KTM Husqvarna. It has the quality parts like Brembo brakes, clutch. The engine is the same. There's nothing different with the engine just besides the head pipe. Silver wheels. It does come with Maxxis MXST tires. We're gonna talk about that as well. So minute differences, but what we used to call it, what's the movie that's out there? I Am Same. It is similar, but a little bit different. So on the track, let's go over the sucker. So for me, the GasGas MC 450, I'm gonna start with the engine. You would think that it would feel more like a KTM, right? But as I rode this during the day, I feel like the GasGas has more mid-range pull. It's deceivingly fast like the KTM, but it has a wider mid-range pull. If I'm pulling up second gear up these hills behind me, you better hang on and lean forward because this thing takes off in a hurry. Once you roll the throttle on, there's so much connectivity to the rear wheel, which is similar to a KTM and Husqvarna, but you just have more meat. And the reason I think that is due to the head pipe. The head pipe is different, it's proprietary to this machine, and without having that resonance chamber, I think I'm just getting a little bit more mid-range pulling power. So I like that. What I also like about this model, it's easy to ride. Second gear pulls very far, very long. You can roll out of a corner and just use second all the way to the next corner. It will not lug like a Yamaha or a Kawasaki, but to me, it's a little bit different in the fact where you can be lazy in a different area. Instead of shifting, you can just leave it in second and let it eat, and then you have the option to shift to third. If you do want to lug it, just have to be covering this Brembo clutch a little bit, but once you stab that a couple times, it gets right back up in the RPMs and it's really good. So overall, engine character is a little bit better to me than a KTM or Husqvarna. I like that. Pulls far and it pulls very long. Moving on to the chassis feel. So with these composite clamps, I have a softer feeling front end. Unlike a KTM or a Husqvarna, it's a little bit rigid, especially on slap downs. We got this WP AER fork on slap downs, it was kind of harsh. Well, now with this cast clamp, it's a little bit softer, a little bit more supple, and for me, a little bit more forgiving when I'm coming into a corner. I like that a lot. There's less vibration coming up through the handlebar. KTM vibrates a lot, and I'm not really a big fan of that, but with this cast clamp, there's less vibration, less noticeable high RPM harmonics coming through here, so for me, better feeling there. Same cornering character, very smooth, very easy to get into, feels light on tip-in. Area 1 of the corner is very easy to get into. I will mention that it does feel a little more twitchy than a KTM or Husqvarna, and I think that has something to do with the tires. So the Maxxis MX ST tires feels a little bit harder on the ground. So when I'm getting into a corner braking, I have a little bit of a looser feeling, a little bit some unstable feel when I'm trying to make my lean, setting up wide, coming into a corner. Once I'm in area 1, it sticks very nice. But if there's not a big rut there, these tires for me, I just don't think it holds up very well to the power and the weight of the machine. I would get a different brand tire if you're going to this model. Straight line stability feels similar to KTM, like I said. 3rd, 4th gear rolling on up to Talladega here. Chassis is stable. It's a blend of ease of riding and cornering, what we call cornering stability, and then straight line stability. It has a nice blend of both. Now, the proprietary suspension, the WP suspension, is soft, okay? I'm 170 pounds, and it's soft out of the box. So 10.7 is the stock air pressure for this AER fork. I went to a 10.9 setting, slowed the rebound down up 3, and then stiffened the compression up a little bit. And it holds up better, still feels nice coming into a corner, but without getting that harsh feeling like a KTM does. So for me, yes, still has that air fork feel, but I honestly think this cast clamp does help the feeling of the motorcycle up front. The shock, similar as a KTM, has an empty inch stroke. I had to crank in the high speed a quarter turn, as well as the low speed. Ran 104 millimeters of sag, and the balance of the motorcycle is nice. One thing I want to mention about this neck and bar, it's a different color obviously, but it's the same bend as a KTM bar. So when you're looking at it, it still has that low, not a lot of sweep, flat bend. I like that bend. If you're 6'1", maybe, you might want to get a little bit taller of a bar. But for me, the overall cockpit feel of this GasGas is nice. I'm 6 foot tall, feels really flat, easy to move around on. The seat cover is a little bit slick on my butt, so if you're trying to drive up these big hills, you really got to make sure you push forward because you'll slide back. I'd get a gripper cover, but nonetheless, neck and bar not as rigid as the KTM because of the clamp. Glen Helen today was primo. Overcast skies here today, and they prepped it, so I'm not going to sit there and bum rush you guys and say this is the greatest suspension ever because it wasn't truly that bumpy today. We'll talk more about, in the months to come after the holidays, how this thing stacks up. I'll break it in a little bit more, go to different tracks, and we'll get you guys a setting out there so you guys know where to go. But overall, man, this thing is a pleasure to ride, easy to ride, very fast. So if you guys are wondering, like, hey, KTM, Husqvarna, GasGas, save yourself a little bit of money if you're worried about money, $800, $900 less. To me, if it was me and I was spending my money, I would get a GasGas because simply less vibration, wider mid-range character, and to me it's red. I like that color. It looks really good. You're a little bit different at the track, so kudos to the guys at GasGas. It's another brand for us to choose from. I like that. For you guys out there going, oh, it's just whatever, it's a KTM Husqvarna. It gives us options out there as consumers to figure out what we want and what we want to buy. I like that. We need manufacturers in our sport. It's cool that they're arriving and they're giving us another option. So we'll hit you guys back with more information on racerxonline.com, but this was our first impression. Don't forget to subscribe to RacerX publication, $30, 12 issues, get a free calendar. It's a perfect Christmas gift out there, so make sure you do that as well. We'll see you on the next one.